You're watching Chick-Fil-A Overtime with me, Corey Miller, on Watch Fox. Well, we're getting closer to regular season. I'm Corey Miller, Pastor Payne. Again, thanks for being up late with us here for your Chick-Fil-A Overtime. 1 week away before we get to week 0 and kick things off. The scrimmages already began as guys are getting that final tune-up before regular season kicks off. Joining me right now is Jim Baxter of scvarsity.com. And Jim, it's kind of just moving its way slowly but surely closer and closer. Last weekend, we had the scrimmages, a lot of good scrimmages that were taking place. And teams I like how they kind of matched up too. These are not like, playing a 1A school versus a 4A school. These are some pretty evenly matched scrimmages. Yeah,
good scrimmages. I mean, you look across at guys like, Spartanburg and Dutch Fork going at it, two teams that played for state championships last year, and then you've got the Lower Richland and heading over to Irmo and Blythewood in there, scrimmaging people. There's a lot of good and in Lexington traveling up to take on Dorman, and so a lot of good scrimmages, and we're a week away. We're a week away from live games.
It's going to be some good stuff, and I think it's going to be some great competition. I talked last week about how I felt like there's a lot of parity now, especially right here in the Midlands, and we'll see how things shake out. But we continue our high school football summer tour when we took our talents out to Chapin last week. And then Chapin is one of them inspiring teams that I really kind of like. I like what Coach Gentry is doing out there. They got some really good football players. I know they got one of the most passionate fan bases, Jim, in the Midlands. You go out to Chapin, that place is rocking. Those folks are packing that stadium, and they have a reason to because they got a good football team.
They do. They got a competitive football team. I think that they're going to be the favorite in Region 4 3A going into that region this year. And, talent on both sides of the football. Love the quarterback. I did a story this week in Baxter's Blitz on the most dominant players in the Midlands area. He's one of them. He is a guy that can take over a game and make a difference in a game, and Logan Bailey. So I'm impressed with them. Of course, they have the junior tight end, Will Register, and some linebackers over there that I like, the Reinhardt kid. They're solid, and this is going to be a tough football team.
We're out there this spring and watching Bailey and Register, that tandem. Going at it. Of course, Logan Bailey is one of those dual threat quarterbacks. He's strong lower body. He can get you to tough yards. He's a tough kid too as well. He don't mind taking the hits, but he has to be healthy. If Chapin's going to be good, Logan Bailey needs to stay healthy. We had a chance to talk to Logan Bailey last week, and here's what he had to say.
True grit, Chapin grit, true grit. We like to think of ourselves as a nitty-gritty team, down to the bone, tough. For the first game, the team's really come together. We got a lot of new guys, a lot of young kids, and we've been performing really good, in my opinion, out here on the field. We're really meshing and coming together as a team.
And well, Jim, he is a solid quarterback. When you look at a guy like Will Register, when you got a compliment, one of the best compliments for a tight end, for a quarterback, is a tight end. Will Register, who's committed to the Gamecocks, has some offers out there. A guy that I think maybe going to end up playing tackle the way if you look at his body, but maybe he won't. Look at that Cannon Smith up there at Clemson. I mean, the 264 run to 4.6. They got him at tight end, so maybe he's that type of kid.
He is. I mean, you look at him, and a lot of people look at that. They look at these guys that are playing tight end at this level that you think is going to move inside and play tackle at the next level. Will is a kid that I've had an opportunity to see up close because he's come to our training camps, and he actually has a skill set of a receiver. I mean, he's got the ability to get out there in space and make plays. So I think he's a young man that's going to be used in that capacity at the next level. He certainly has the ability to move inside and play tackle if that's what they wanted to do with him, but he's got the skill set to play tight end and even move around in the offense as like an H-back.
Well, we caught up with Will Register, the Gamecock commit, last week as well.
I say Chapin grit, true grit. That really hits home. Come out here every day, give 100%, never let up. We just give it our best day in, day out. Just working hard every day. Just giving the team 100%. And everyone out here is going hard. I love it out here.
Well, if you're a coach and you got players like Logan Bailey, Will Register, you feel good about your team automatically now. Coach Gentry is a guy that I really like his coaching style, a little bit old school. We're out there this spring and just watching him, how he interacts with the kids. And, he knows he got a good team. He knows he got a good fan base. And he knows they got a chance here in this 2015. Here's Coach Gentry.
Well, we've put in the work. The hard work comes from January to the end of July. And our guys have really done that, and they've bought into what we're trying to do here at Chapin. And, Logan mentioned Chapin grit, true grit, and that's one thing that we've honed in on the last several years. And what we take a lot of pride in fighting teams all the way to the end of the ball game, and hopefully, you know, if we got a chance, good things can happen.
So this is a team that moved up the full way along with some of the other ones. Again, I think Chapin can compete. Again, I like their fan base. I love their passion, Jim. They're just a good, fun program to watch.
They are. It's a good community. They're very supportive out there. All stands are always full at the home games, and they actually travel pretty good.
Yeah.
They travel pretty good when they go to the away games.
They know how to do it. Speaking of a team that know how to do it, White, no. How about Coach Dean Howell? They moved on up like the Jeffersons. They're in that Region 5-5A, a team that kind of changed their style. I think about them a couple of years ago. They were toe-to-toe splits. They were tight in there running the football. Now they open things up, Jim, a little bit. This White Knoll team is intriguing to me as well. I don't know where to place them right now. Where they going to fit, how good they're going to be. They lost a lot of good football players.
They did. I mean, they lost Emon Brown, the running back, that he was a big impact player for them. But I talked to Coach Howell the other day. He's got some pretty high expectations. I think that, you know, he believes they've got talent. They've got a young man playing quarterback, Caleb Grubbs, that is a leader. You know, he may not be the best quarterback in the state, but he's certainly a leader and a very good athlete. He feels like they've replaced at the running back position well, and they're going to do well there. And they've got some receivers that can catch the ball, and I like them on defense. I think they've got some guys on defense that can play ball, especially at the linebacker position.
Yeah, they're big at that linebacker position. Here's what Coach Dean Howell had to say when we were out at the practice.
First of all, we had a great summer. Kids have really bought into what we're doing, and the commitment level has certainly risen. And I think, you know, some of the success we had last year, winning a region championship and, you know, qualifying and hosting a home playoff game for the first time in the history of the school, all those things were very important to our program, and I think it's carried over to the kids. I think, you know, we walked off the field for the last time last year. It's been a hunger that's been stirring, and we've all been feeling it, so we're ready to get back out here.
And Jim, again, I like, you know, what he's saying, but he's one of those guys that he's going to tell you the truth. He's not going to seem overly excited about his team. And, you know, that's kind of the coach speak a lot of times. But I like Dean Howell. I like his coaching ability out there at White Knoll. But when you look at the other teams in his region, I don't know. When you look at Irmos, you look at Lexington, you look at these guys that are coming up and looking very good, a lot of talent across the board. I just don't know where they fit.
I think they're going to be probably a 3 or 4 in that region. You know, I battle with River Bluff for that 3rd spot. I think Lexington and Irmo are the top 2 teams in that region. But, you know, that Lexington and White Knoll rivalry is pretty heated right now, so you never know what will happen in that game. But, you know, they won the region last year. I don't think anybody in the state picked them to win the region last year. So I didn't pick them.
I didn't do so. I was wrong on that one. All right, when we come back, as we talked earlier, there's a lot of scrimmages that took place last week. We want to kind of go through those and talk about them and how that impact each and every team. We'll talk about that after the break. You're watching Chick-Fil-A Overtime with me, Corey Miller, on Watch Fox. Welcome back to Chick-Fil-A Overtime. Again, Friday and Saturday really had some games, some good games that were scrimmages. When you look at them, you're like, hey, man, this will be a great regular season game. Actually, one of them was even a replay of last year's 4A state title game, which Dutch Fork lost to Hillcrest. I mean, 2 teams that played for state title games, Jim. But I like the fact that, again, we talked about these teams are not putting little, you know, teams that they can run over. I mean, I remember days, and we're a 2A school, but we sometimes scrimmage teams like McBee and teams like Wicked Truck, and you really got nothing out of those scrimmages. So I like the fact how these coaches are bringing some other good football teams to go up against.
Ain't many people trucking McBee now. I mean, McBee's got a pretty good football
That's hard
team.
for me to even to fathom that McBee has a good football team.
What they've got is 2 incredible running backs, but they're not a Midlands team. So.
Oh, God. McBee has good running backs. Okay, we have to talk about that off the air. But anyway, I like the fact that you get some good scrimmages. I mean, I think it helps your team, your overall team. You're going against some good players and going against some other good coaches. It's not warped. I think it's good to have those scrimmages like that. Now, there's a lot of scrimmages last week. I want to throw up a quick full screen so you can see before we get a breakdown of Greenwood, a team that's really, really good, I think. Westwood, a good matchup. Spartanburg, Dutch Fork. Dutch Fork is, of course, state title contender. Spartanburg is a good team. Got Feaster, who's going to Clemson, a 5-star running back. R&E has a player that's going to Louisville, a linebacker, Keenan, Ridgeview. We talked about them, Chapin and Lugoff Felgen. Matt Campbell going up against a really good coach in Gentry. Laurel Richard's a team that I like. Rock Hill, who's always pretty solid. Darlington and Irmo. So those were good games, good slate of games there on Friday. Of course, but our Amerlin Pennyguff, she's been on the road with me this summer tour. She's got a breakdown on all of these games. Take it away, Amber.
Well, the football grind has started, and Watch Fox was out covering the Midlands and high school football for the past week in Westwood. A team that's been pretty highly regarded coming into the season saw some action against Greenwood last Friday, and head coach Rodney Summers says although his team had some questions coming in, he can see that hard work paying off on the field.
We had some question marks coming in today on our defense, and I thought the defense looked outstanding. Flying around, doing a good job. Again, we're physical, we're big. We've been working hard in the weight room, and that's one of our things that we harp on is just getting in the weight room and getting big and fast and strong.
And a big scrimmage between Richland Northeast, Ridgeview, and Keenan Friday as well. And head coach Perry Park says he sets high expectations for his players coming into the season, and especially before they hit the field on a scrimmage. And he seemed to be pretty pleased after seeing some of the action on Friday.
We set high expectations, and we get in a game-like situation. Those guys got to execute. That's what we measure it by. So very pleased with that. Just want to see next couple games we have today, see them do the same thing, man. Maintain.
Well, Richland Northeast struggled a little bit offensively on Friday, but head coach Jay Fry says these scrimmages are great tests for his guys before the year starts.
All right, Coach, first scrimmage of the year, a lot of motivation out here. Talk about your team.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. Obviously, you put a lot of work in, I guess, since last January, February, ready to get back on the field against somebody else, and kind of a good test for us.
Your offense, I was watching, it had some struggles at time, but that's just a learning curve, right?
Yeah, a little learning curve, and I got some inexperience there, but we got to grow up and we got to play a lot better than we did just now. So hopefully we'll come out and look a little better now.
Well, that's just a look at some of the scrimmages in the Midlands last week. Back to you guys.
Appreciate that, Amber. A lot of good games, some good stuff there, some good sound from the coaches. When we come back, Jim and I, we're going to talk music and football. How is that making a difference with these players? Does it motivate them, or is it kind of crazy? We'll talk about that after the break. You're watching Chick-Fil-A Overtime with me, Corey Miller, on Watch Fox. Welcome back to the Chick-Fil-A Overtime. Corey Miller, Jim Baxter here with you. One of the things I've been asking coaches, because I'm seeing this trend. Matter of fact, I heard it on the radio. They were talking about as it pertains to college football. You go to a lot of college practices, stadiums right now, the music is blasting. They're going. It's almost like jazzercise. You know, you throw the music on, you exercise. It's kind of weird. You know, they pull up the little spandex, the Zumba and all this stuff. But I think the college sports, the high school sports have adapted this mentality. Now, what Coach has been telling me is the fact that this new culture of kids, they're motivated by the music. It's hot out there. They want to do their thing. They don't want to listen to coaches yelling and screaming. But, you know, when they're in that tough, hot situation, Jim, the music kind of helps take their mind off of some of the stuff. Are you buying the music at practice?
You know, they're right. I mean, it does. This culture of kids that we live in, we actually play music at our big events, at the SC Varsity All-State Combine. We play music at that. The QB1 Challenge, we play music at that. Don't typically use it at our regular camps, but at the big ones we do, because the kids respond to it. They start getting pumped up and motivated, and it gets them fired up. Now, I was at Lexington last week listening to their music, and there were some songs played on there. I don't know if I'd get fired up if I were a 16. I mean,
what kind of songs?
There was some country music playing on there.
Oh, country music, what fires you up, man?
I don't have anything wrong with country music, but it's not exactly, you know, that
put some Darius Rucker on. I mean, you know, sing, you know.
Okay. Whatever motivates you.
But last week, you know, I was at Ridgeview. I mean, they were jamming, and you hear a lot of the hip hop. You hear a lot of that kind of music going on. They clean it up. They had the clean version.
See, I gotta have Godsmack, Metallica, and kind of stuff.
No, whatever works for you. I mean, I don't know if they take a vote, but the thing is, these coaches and players, they're responding to the music. And then the athletic event, whatever it is. Now, one thing he says, they're moving the drills fast. So you don't see a lot of conditioning after practice either, because practice is all about tempo. So they feel like with the music, if one for crowd noise, it says it helps them there, and then it helps them to move through the drills more smooth. And so they say they're getting their conditioning because of the music and how they're moving from drill to drill to tempo.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean,
Yeah.
if you got an up-tempo music playing, it's gonna make things move faster.
No doubt about it. I talked to Josh Stepp and I talked to Coach Parks about the music and practice, and these are two of the younger coaches in the Midlands who said, hey, it works for our kids. The music, it just seemed like back when I was playing, that didn't happen, but now it does make the atmosphere better.
Oh, definitely, man. We're reaching out to a new generation of football player. You know, the kids aren't as tough as, back when you played, and, even when I played, it's not too far ago, but you got to find ways to make it fun, man. So we pump up music, all the coaches, high energy, high intensity. Let's make practice fun for the kids so we can get something out of it.
You guys got the music blaring, jamming. You guys are younger coaches, in the state and doing well. Is it just getting used to this culture of kids? I mean, it seems like it's fun. The atmosphere has definitely changed.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's one of the biggest things nowadays in coaching. You got to be able to relate to your kids. And playing the music, pumping the music, A, it helps us with crowd noise, getting used to playing in front of a big crowd, but B, it breaks the monotony of practice. And the kids love it, and, it's fun for the coaches, it's fun for the kids. It kind of gives a little icebreaker to practice, and the kids enjoy it. We enjoy it as coaches, so that's something we'll always do.
Well, when you played, we're old school, old guys. Coaches would never, ever, you even think about wearing headsets sometimes. They will go nuts.
When I played, you couldn't have somebody up in the booth with a turntable.
Right, yeah, mixing and scratching. I mean, we sit at basketball games. I remember the women's Gamecock basketball team, they had a DJ, Puff is his name. It's Agent Wilson's brother. I mean, he's DJing at the NCAA games. So, I mean, it's the culture of kids that things are changed, and you have to find a way. I agree with what they said. You got to find a way to maximize and get as much as you can out of that kid. Whether, hey, if I got to bring a DJ in, if we got to do some rap music, whatever. If I can get that one thing to motivate you, to push you, then I think you're in good shape.
I agree. I mean, like I said, whatever it takes to motivate them and keep them motivated, and whatever it takes to get the most out of those kids at practice. Yeah. If you can get the most out of them and you can cause your practice to run more smoothly or quicker, going through the drills and going from station to station, then go for it. I think it helps.
I like it. I'm just saying, I can get down with the old and the new. Well, the coaches, they do it, and we'll talk about coaches in the Midlands. I like the coaches in the Midlands. We're going to talk about some of the best or better coaches in the Midlands when we come back after the break. You're watching Chick-Fil-A Overtime with me, Corey Miller, on Watch Fox. Welcome back to Chick-Fil-A Overtime. Now, we all the time talk about the players, right? Who's the best players in the Midlands? Who's the best teams in the Midlands? But we never talked about the coaches. Now, I'm saying this because as I traveled around the Midlands and went to these different camps and watched coaches over the summer, over the spring, even the last few years, I think the Midlands have a great group of coaches, Jim, and there's a lot. I mean, when we talk about the SEC in college, they have the best coaches. The ACC, maybe not so much. You see a difference. And I think right now, when we look across the state of South Carolina, I think the Midlands have a really good group of coaches.
There's some good coaches. I mean, if you look at the success that some of the teams have had in the Midlands, you can't argue that fact that we've got some of the coaches. And you see here on the full screen, you've got some of the better coaches. This is not all of them, and we're not saying these are the best, but these are among the best coaches.
I would say these are some of the better coaches in the Midlands.
I think Tom Knotts is, I've already said it.
How can you argue that?
I think he's one of the best in the business. Reggie Kennedy over at Irmo. I mean, look at his record. I mean, look at what he's done at the schools he's been at, and I think you're going to see that out of him again this year at Irmo. Josh Stepp. We were talking off the air earlier, and I told you I think Josh Stepp is not only one of the better, if not the best, young coach in the state, but he's got one of the most brilliant offensive minds of any of the coaches that I've talked to in recent years as far as the young coaches. Dean Howell, you can't argue with the success Dean's had. And, he went to AC Flora with a mediocre program and took them to the quarterfinals. And he goes over to White Knoll last year, his first year there, and they win a first ever region championship for White Knoll. So hard to argue with that. Rodney Summers, one you like. I think Rodney's a great young coach. Cut his teeth over at Richardson Northeast under Jay Fry, and of course running the Westwood program now, and he's done a phenomenal job. And Eric Kimry, you can't argue with. I mean, 9 state championships. How do you argue with
7
that?
of those, and probably going to be 8 after the year. I mean, really, I can say Eric Kimmery. I can put Tim and Tom Knotts 1A and 1B. Now, I know people going to say, are you crazy skis in top-level football? But I don't care. When you have that type of success, if you could go to 9 state title games and you win 7 of them, that's very impressive.
Here's the comparison that you get with Eric Kimmery and Tom Knotts, and I think that this is key. Though they both get the most out of the talent they have on their team.
Right.
There are years when either of those guys may not have the most talent on their football team, but by the time week 8, week 9 rolls around, they're playing better than anybody around. And that's a tribute to the coaching.
And there's a lot of other great coaches in this city. And again, this is no reference of what we really think or we grading, so don't think that. But when I look at coaches like Perry Parks, when I look at Robin Bacon at Spring Valley, when I look at Matthew Campbell that's taking over at Lugoff Elgin, who's going to have the ability to turn that program around. We know these guys know football. They know what they're doing.
Justin Gentry at Chapin.
What he's done. I think up in Newberry. I mean, so.
Rusty Sharpie going to Brooklyn Casey, taking over a dismal program and getting 2 6-win
Kurt Burnett
seasons.
at AC Floor. I mean, he struggled the last year or so. But, I mean, these guys, my point is, I wanted to shout out the coaches and don't take because your name wasn't on the screen. But I'm saying, as I traveled around and spent time with these coaches, Jim, and seeing what they're doing, and I really like what they are doing with the kids. I mean, how they're impacting the kids' lives on and off the field. So it's not just about winning. It's not always about X and O's. It's about impacting the life of a kid and help turning their life around. So there you have it. Well, folks, it's going to be the last show before we talk about the real thing. Next week, week 0, we're ready to kick things off for you, and we're going to have some highlights, and it's time to break things down. For Jim Baxter, for Amberlynn Pennycuff, for Dustin Martin behind the scenes over there, I'm Corey Miller, Pastor Payne. Again, we thank you for staying up late with us. We love you. Have a great night.